Welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, 18-hour special initiative that celebrates the undying entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. On the show today, a chat with Total Environment on our Insights segment, and on Bright Sparks tonight, we're featuring Only 2 Feet and Imaginarium. In a market which is crowded at all price points, Bengaluru-based Total Environment is known for its customized detailing. I caught up with its founder and chairman Kamal Sagar to talk about how regulation in the real estate industry is changing the very nature of the game in the realty space and how MSMEs can create a USP for themselves in this market. Listen in. Kamal, thank you very much for speaking with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow. Let's start by asking you to very briefly tell our viewers about Total Environment.
Okay, so we are a 21-year-old design firm, really, which also got into development, construction and development of real estate back in '96. We currently have projects in Bangalore, Hyderabad and Pune. We are a 670-member strong team here based out of Bangalore. Our forte is really residential. We do 90% of what we do is residential, is homes of different formats, custom built, custom designed to the smallest detail, mostly completely furnished, homes with gardens, built with natural materials. And we've done about 30 projects so far in the last 21 years, and currently we have 7 projects under construction, 5 in Bangalore, 1 in Pune and 1 in Hyderabad.
Okay, let's talk about fundraising. This is something that a lot of our viewers who write in and call us on a call-in show that we have here on the Leaders of Tomorrow tell us that they find the most challenging. You've just raised funds, I notice. Talk to us about the process, and also talk to our viewers about what they can possibly do if they're in the market for funds, from your own experience.
I think finally everywhere it boils down to trust. When somebody is investing with you, it's very difficult to say what the outcome is going to be at the end of a project or at the end of a few years of business. But what they certainly want is to be able to trust you on the commitments that you're making to them, and because at the end of the day they're relying on you. They don't understand your business as well as you do, and if they can trust you, and if you're upfront with about everything when you start the discussions, then you continue to get funding later on. Otherwise, you might raise the first round of funds, and then after that, nobody's going to want to come to you if you've not kept up to your commitments.
Okay. So, also talk to us about how the environment has possibly changed. Has it changed, in fact, to give us a sense of whether banks are now lending more regularly and more willingly to companies which are in the real estate and construction space? Because there was a whole period of time early last year when bank funding had really dried up. You had NPAs, of course, which are at about a decade high, and that seemed to have impacted really the lending sentiment. Have things started changing?
So banks are only funding construction, not purchase of land and not the starting of a new real estate project, right? So banks are permitted to only do funding after you have all your approvals, and that's just only for the construction. All the rest of the funding for any real estate project comes from private equity funding or NBFCs and things like that. What change we have seen now with the funds is that they are, in the past they would look at very many investments across the board with all kinds of companies. I think some of them have learned over the last 7 or 10 years and have figured out that they'd rather work with fewer established players and take less risk and do larger exposures to fewer players versus doing multiple transactions and not knowing which one's going to work out.
The real estate space, perhaps in India, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is very highly regulated, one of the more regulated sectors in India. We are talking about RERA, of course. You've had some impact really and some conversation and commentary coming out of the budget. How do you think RERA and any other regulations that come in, including GST, will probably change the landscape for your industry?
Yeah, I think it will. RERA will certainly help the real estate industry to become much more mature. For so many years, it's been completely disorganized. Absolutely anything goes was how it was, and that kind of creates a huge issue with customers who are not able to trust anything that they hear. And I think this whole, with RERA coming in, that will change. Customers will be able to rely on data that they see. They will be less scared to go ahead and make their investments. And I think the way everybody works, the way the industry works, that people will have to, get more organized, get systems in place, be very real about their commitments and their, media and publicity and stuff that they do in terms of what they're saying and what they're actually going to do. I think that's certainly going to happen, and I think that's going to be positive for the industry.
Kamal, also talk to our viewers about, while there are a lot of the external environment and, global factors that have taken place over the last year, a lot of that has been factored in, but we still continue to be in a very volatile environment. So if there is advice that you had for them in terms of how to be able to factor that in and ride that out, what would it be?
I think you want to avoid getting psychologically impacted by all these things. So what we have done is to focus on all the things that you're trying to do to make your company better. So whether it's processes or training or people or capabilities that you want to develop within the company, I think for us it's almost like we've just been focusing on getting all those things done during these times, so that we can just improve how we deliver as an organization, and it kind of works as a distraction from all the noise that's around about all these other negative things, so that you can just not get impacted by that. Because and also I think the passion, if that's what's driving you, then you have that ability to think past all of this. You have that rather confidence in that passion, that you'll get past all of this and keep going.
Please talk to us about any success mantras that you live your life by and your business by.
I think it's all about relationships and people and feelings. I think it's important to understand that you can't brush aside something like that. So finally, it's about everybody that you deal with, your customers, your vendors, your investors, your employees. Everyone has to enjoy what they're doing with you, and to do that you have to invest time into building those relationships, and that you can't really get that from just money. You might pay your employees very well, but if you don't spend the time with them, or with your customers, if you may be giving them a phenomenal product, but at the same time you still need to maintain those relationships. You need to have that connect. One of the things that's worked very well for me, at least, is been that connect with all our customers. It really helps. When there are any challenges that do come up along the way, then people understand much better if there's a connect.
Thank you very much for speaking with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, Kamal.